People, use your noggin, use your noggin. You really think Zack Parker, Frank Warren, Queensberry Promotions wanted to fight with Demetrius Andrade? You really think that was a genuine purse bid? Oh boy, y'all need to learn a lot about the sport of boxing. Use your noggin. You really think that all of a sudden, the same people that bid Frank Warren, Queensberry, that won the bid, $1.8 million, months later, feels like now the value of the same fight with the same fighters that didn't fight in between fights, valued at $300,000. Demetrius Andrade was going to get paid $1.2, close to $1.2 million. Zack Parker was almost going to get paid $600,000 to $700,000. All of a sudden, Demetrius Andrade is worth $183,000 and Zack Parker like $95,000. They strategically devalue the fight, devalue the fighter, knowing that that was a slap in the face. And don't think promoters won't notify other promoters not to bid on a particular fight. You know, it's a small community. You don't want to step on nobody's toes. Demetrius Andrade had no choice but to keep his integrity and pull out from a disgusting purse bid. A disgusting, political, dirty purse bid. Demetrius Andrade is a victim of the dirty business of boxing.
Do promoters notify a fellow promoter not to bid on a particular fight? Do they have, do they work behind the scenes to say, hey, don't bid on this? Like, come on.
It happens. It probably happens once a year. Of all the purse bid fights, it probably happens once a year, I would say, on an average, that I know of. So there you go.
I got a question.
Go on.
Why would they let a Demetrius Andrade, who we understand is more skillful than Zack Parker, if he goes out there and beats Zack Parker, who is in position in the 168-pound division to fight the likes of the King, the 4th-division world champion, and currently super middleweight undisputed Canelo Alvarez? Why would they let Demetrius Andrade take that opportunity from them? So, ladies and gentlemen, Demetrius Andrade was a victim of the dirty business of the sport of boxing. Whether you like him, whether you're a fan, whether you hate him, whether you believe all the narratives that's pushed towards Demetrius Andrade, use your noggin on this one. This was a political dirty move by Frank Warren, Queensberry Promotions. They knew that they would shame Demetrius Andrade for him to pull out from that fight. Shame him with that purse bid so he could pull out from that fight. What up? Y'all already know this is Punch Drunk Boxing, a.k.a. Mr. Moonshine himself. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put things into perspective. Let me level out the playing field. Let me level out your understanding. Now, look, I understand there's people out there that's not a fan of Demetrius Andrade. I am very aware of the narrative that people have made towards Demetrius Andrade. I'm very aware that he doesn't have this type of large fan base where it could debunk the narratives that people have made of him. I also understand that a lot of people is frustrated with his career and they expected more from Demetrius Andrade. I expected more from Demetrius Andrade. There's people out there that understand that he never matched the expectations of him being an Olympian. Have not matched the expectation, have not exceeded the expectation. I believe that Demetrius Andrade himself could feel and say the same thing that I'm saying right now. You understand? But I also understand this. Advising couple fighters, I advise couple fighters. If people don't know, I advise couple fighters in the sport of boxing. I learned the business of boxing. I understand this is a very, very small community. I understand the business of boxing. I understand the strategy also of devaluing a fighter. Now, we understand there's corruption in boxing. We understand the politics in boxing, right? And I also understand that people choose who to cater to, whether who's been done wrong, who's been robbed, and things of that nature, who's been misused, who's been devalued. When it comes to Demetrius Andrade, I see there's a lot of people out there in this community that don't give him the benefit of the doubt. They want to blame Demetrius Andrade for the business mishaps. They don't want to blame or mention his business handlers. They want him to take accountability. And of course, I believe that everybody needs to take accountability, especially who you hire and things of that nature. But also, when it comes to the sport of boxing, fighters need to pay attention to preparing for a fight, adding more tools to the toolbox, keep working out, just stay professional. And they hire people outside. They hire people in their team to take care of business. Now, we understand there's corruption in boxing. We understand that there's strategies to devaluing a fighter. There's a strategy to blackball fighters. Strategy in not giving fighters the opportunity. Now, Demetrius Andrade, as much as you may dislike Demetrius Andrade, or if you're a supporter of Demetrius Andrade, we all understand that Demetrius Andrade is not worth no $180,000. That's a slap in the face, and we all know that. Whether you want to admit it or not, that's a slap in the face, a spit in the face. And ladies and gentlemen, this purse bid was a political move. Either you want to believe it or not, my intellect tells me that this is a political move in which Frank Warren and Queensberry Promotions just didn't want this fight. They don't want this fight because if you're gonna bid $300,000, and Demetrius Andrade gonna get paid $183,000, something like that, and Zack Parker is gonna get paid like $90,000. You really think that Queensberry will go from $600, almost $700,000 for their fighter Zack Parker to a $90,000 payday, $95,000 payday? You really think so? Nah. This was a political move that they knew that Demetrius Andrade will pull out from this fight because that would be a slap in the face. Demetrius Andrade will pull out from this fight, and then they will get the fight that they really, really want. Queensberry did not want this fight. This was a way of them pulling out from the fight. But people may not understand that because their hatred towards Demetrius Andrade is, it's all Demetrius Andrade. Look at his business. Look at his business mishaps in 154. But nobody really want to talk about what happened in 160. Was he a good businessman in the middleweight division when he signed with Eddie Hearn? Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing, The Zone, which had the network or stream service, whatever you want to call it, that had Canelo Alvarez, that had Triple G, Daniel Jacobs, they got Jaime Munguia. I think that he did the great business decision moves. He got paid good, and he was in a position. He was a champion as well. Got himself to become a champion in the WBO. Also, he could have had the fight with Billy Joe Saunders, and Billy Joe Saunders tested positive for PEDs. But people like to stay with the 154-pound division because, of course, you gotta stay in with the narrative to shame Demetrius Andrade. I get the hate. I get it. I also understand that fans are not here to understand or care about how much these fighters get paid or whatever the outside, how much these fighters get paid, negotiations and things of that nature. I understand there's fans like that. I understand there's fans that don't give a damn about fighters. I understand there's fans that just give a damn about the fights. Just give me the fight. I don't care about nothing else. But then fans wants to ask the why. Why things happen. Why this fight have not come through fruition. Why Demetrius Andrade and his resume, it is what it is, right? If you want to know the why, then you got to understand the business. And you got to be and you got to be real enough, and you got to be sincere enough to actually try to understand the business of the people that know or are educated about the business, to let you know and educate you. Be open-minded to educate, to let people educate you about the business of boxing, whether you like what you hear or not. So, I believe Demetrius Andrade is politically is being blackballed. And that's apparent with that purse bid. Nobody's gonna hold Frank Warren accountable or Zack Parker accountable. You also got to understand the WBO. He was a WBO champion. He became a super WBO. He got elevated as super WBO champion before the Jason Quigley fight, in which he could move up and campaign to fight in 168 for a mandatory position. They accepted. He'll get the opportunity to fight for the WBO interim to become the mandatory to Canelo Alvarez. So the WBO approved of it. If Demetrius Andrade would have won, then he will have to choose whether to keep the WBO interim in the 168-pound division or vacate the 160 pounds WBO strap, his championship strap. We understand that he was ordered to fight Janibek, in which people try to shame Demetrius Andrade for fighting another mandatory, in which he's been getting criticized and fighting names that we can't pronounce, fighting guys that are not champions, fighting another mandatory. But it seems like with Janibek, they wanted to shame him with, which, again, another narrative that's brought to Demetrius Andrade to shame him. And ain't nobody getting shamed by Janibek, let's be real. As much as he has a good amateur background, it would just be another. If Demetrius Andrade would have fought Janibek, beat Janibek, he was not going to get credit. Let's be real, let's be honest. They were just using Janibek to shame Demetrius Andrade. He wanted to go to the 168 campaign to be the mandatory to Canelo Alvarez. Now, Demetrius Andrade, you already know, in the middleweight division, had a chance to fight Canelo Alvarez for the undisputed strap in the middleweight division. And you already know the business got in the way of it, right? They say that Golden Boy Promotions signed the extension late and things of that nature. So we understand the mishaps of the business for Canelo Alvarez. We didn't blame Canelo Alvarez, but we understand that his business handlers was in control and messed up to the point where he got stripped. We understand Canelo Alvarez business handlers, the accountability and the responsibility for them to sign the extension early so he won't be stripped and negotiate a deal with Demetrius Andrade. We understand it was Golden Boy Promotion. When it comes to Demetrius Andrade, since he's not a fan favorite or things of that nature, we like to blame Demetrius Andrade, and that's where the contradiction is for a guy like Demetrius Andrade. We understand and we cater to understanding a guy like Canelo Alvarez, because Canelo Alvarez, the cash cow, got a large fan base, in which if there is a narrative around a guy like Canelo Alvarez, I'm a fan of Canelo Alvarez as well. There's a fan base that's gonna debunk those type of narratives and things of that nature, and hopefully, you know what I'm saying, people will believe the truth or will be on the side of Canelo Alvarez, because he got a large fan base and a loyal fan base that will go hard for Canelo Alvarez. Now, with Demetrius Andrade, you know, I remember Mike Tyson. When Mike Tyson, we found out he was getting robbed by Don King. What happened? We was on the side of Mike Tyson. We understand Mike Tyson. Damn, Don King, you getting robbed. Don King, you robbing Mike Tyson. You robbing our pride and joy and things of that nature. Correct? But so that's what I mean. We pick and choose who to cater to. So Demetrius Andrade, he hurt his shoulder, right? So he pulled out from the fight that was supposed to be May 21st with Zack Parker, had a shoulder injury. Now, there's going to be people out there that be like, oh, man, his shoulder is fake or something like that, because, of course, another narrative that's been created. Oh, my God, Demetrius Andrade is pulling out from this fight. But why is he pulling out from this fight? You know, it's a legitimate reason. He got injured. You know, this is a very taxing sport. So he got injured, and then he got another opportunity to go to purse bid, negotiate a deal, go to purse bid with Zack Parker, Frank Warren. He's not with Eddie Hearns any longer. Got a new company, got a new promotional company to work to represent Demetrius Andrade. Now, the WBO felt like, you know, it took a long time. So if you're gonna go, you gotta pick one. You're gonna fight Janibek, or you're gonna go fight Zack Parker. Now, he will go fight. He decided to go fight Zack Parker. He decided to go to purse bid, and decided that he would like to go to the 168 campaign in 168 to fight Zack Parker and be in position, if he wins, to be in position for the mandatory to fight Canelo Alvarez. Think about it. Now think about it, folks. Just use your noggin. You really don't got to know too much about the sport, about the business of boxing, but just use your common sense. We're going to break things down unbiasedly, logically, and objectively. First and foremost, I created this channel to preserve the sport of boxing, to preserve the modern-day warriors, modern-day gladiators, the one that put their life on the line for pure entertainment. I'm here for the fighters. Again, I work with fighters, so I understand the fighters. I got a passion for fighters that you may not have a passion for fighters, because you just in it for the fight. You just a fan. But me, I'm in it for also the respect for the fighters. I'm a fan as well, but also work with the fighters, and I want the fighters to get a fair shake. Now, So he vacated his WBO, correct? He's vacated his WBO. And second purse bid, $300,000. Now, pay attention, folks. If you knew the value of this fight, you was going to get paid close to $1.2 million. You're dealing with the same people. It's the same guy that won the first bid, Frank Warren. You expecting that $1.2 million, right? You're expecting it because you saw that this fight, this is the value of the fight. But then all of a sudden, on the second purse bid, they bid $300,000. Now, don't y'all find that strange? That the same person, Frank Warren, the same company, now the same fight, the same fighter, Zack Parker hasn't fought in between, Demetrius Andrade hasn't fought in between, but all of a sudden there's a $300,000. Now this fight is worth $300,000 and Demetrius Andrade is now worth $183,000. Don't you see? Don't you see what I see? Don't you see the politics? This was to shame Demetrius Andrade into pulling out from this fight because we all know he was not, or anybody of his caliber, or close to his caliber, or his pay rate, is going to accept $183,000 this stage of his career. Don't think that the WBO president Paco and Frank Warren never spoke about this. Don't think that. Now you could say, oh, Punch, this is a conspiracy theory. Again, don't be naive about the business of boxing. The business of boxing is very corrupted. The business of boxing is very political. And the business of boxing, there's a strategy how to devalue fighters. How do you boot a fighter out? How do you boot people like a Demetrius Andrade or any athlete like this? You devalue them. Devalue them, shame them to the point that they won't want to fight. To the point that they might want to retire. It happens to basketball players, baseball players, and things of that nature that they probably could still play the game. Happens to guys like Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony could still play in the NBA. Nobody want to sign him. He went from getting paid this much money, and then the next year, he's just getting the veteran minimum. Nah, he's worth more than the veteran. He's worth more than the veteran minimum, but the owners get together and be like, yo, this is going to be the value of Carmelo Anthony. Don't nobody give him more than this because this is his value and we're going to stay on that tag. Same thing was happening with Demetrius Andrade. Frank Warren bid $300,000 knowing what Demetrius Andrade was going to do. They know that they was not gonna go along. Do you think that Queensberry was gonna devalue also and pay their own fighter Zack Parker with $95,000? No, that's not gonna happen. I want you to know that this was a strategic move. Now, of course, y'all might not agree, y'all might not like it because y'all don't like Demetrius Andrade, so y'all don't give him the benefit of the doubt. Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade is a victim of the dirty business of boxing. The dirty, greedy, slimy, disgusting business of boxing. Now, he might not get the benefit of the doubt because he's not a fan-friendly fighter, maybe to you. And if he's not a fan-friendly fighter, why the fans going to be friendly towards him? I get the narratives. I get it. I understand it. I understand the hate. I don't agree with the hate. I don't agree with the narratives. But I understand why people say what they say, do what they do. I'm just here to put things into perspective and level out the playing field and level out the respect or the understanding, level out the understanding. As much as y'all want to critique, as much as I want to make fun of Demetrius Andrade, what they're doing to Demetrius Andrade is something I don't wish on any other fighter. Demetrius Andrade is a good talent. Demetrius Andrade is a good fighter. Demetrius Andrade is a good boxer. Demetrius Andrade is a person that don't get in trouble. Demetrius Andrade is a good ambassador to the sport of boxing. But I guess people just want to, make him out to look like a fool. People don't care. There's some people that don't care about boxers. I understand. Again, this was a political move a dirty political move to devalue Demetrius Andrade and for him to pull out from this fight. So Zack Parker, Frank Warren, they could do whatever else they had, you know what I'm saying? The plan B, or the plan that they really had. Now, there's going to be people out there that be like, yo, but Punch, maybe he should have stayed in 160 and fight Jenner back. Then it would have never happened. Yeah. And you still would have critiqued him the same way if he would have beat Jenner back. Demetrius Andrade was chasing, at this point of his career, Demetrius Andrade feel like he needs to fight a legacy fight. And Janabek was not a legacy fight. Y'all know he was not a legacy fight. He wanted the Triple G fight, the unification bout that nobody shamed Triple G. He wanted the Charlo fight, in which he went up to Jamal Charlo, asked for the fight, you know what I'm saying? He called him out in his press conference. He called Triple G out in his post-fight interview. He called Canelo Alvarez out, and nobody shamed them to fighting him. Now, whether you agree with Demetrius Andrade calling them out and one of those type of fights, at the end of the day, he was a champion. And if you value the champions, you know what I'm saying? There's people out there that be like, yo, belts don't matter. And I've seen that with Demetrius Andrade. It seems like belts don't matter, right? People got to keep it consistent out there. Some people want to argue the belts matter in the lightweight division, but belts don't matter in the middleweight division because none of these guys is actually unifying. And the guy that's actually calling these guys out to unify is the guy that actually gets shamed the most. Triple G didn't want to unify with Demetrius Andrade. Charlo said they were going to blackball Demetrius Andrade. Say it out loud. Even when other fighters do call Demetrius Andrade, the business of boxing, like Samson Likowitz, David Benavidez called out Demetrius Andrade. He would love to see it. He would love to fight him. Demetrius Andrade said, yeah, I would like to fight you. And then Samson said it would take $7 million just to talk to get the David Benavidez fight. The business of boxing gets in the way. A lot of people critique Jamal Charlo, right? And Jaime Munguia. Look, Jaime Munguia and Jamal Charlo, they both signed up to fight each other. And what happened? The business of boxing derailed that type of fight, that legacy fight for both of those fighters. That probably could have been their best opponent of their career, but the business of boxing got in the way. So we understand that even when you have higher people, respectable people, people with good reputation to handle your business, that doesn't mean that they're going to do what they need to do. A lot of managers are in cahoots with the promoters. A lot of managers and promoters are in cahoots with the same attorneys. A lot of managers, promoters, know the networks. Everything is all like a club. Ain't none of these people going broke. Only the fighters. The fighters get taken advantage of. Fighters come and go. These guys in boxing, they work like how doctors work. They help lives and they take care of you sometimes, but they don't have a feeling for you because fighters come and go. And this is the way that strategically they want Demetrius Andrade to go. Now, there's going to be fans out there that be like, well, it's done anyway. I don't give a damn about him, but it's not that. Because there's going to be fighters that's suffering from the same thing that you may not know, suffering from a lower scale. There's a lot of fighters that's be taken advantage of. There's a lot of fighters out there that devalue them. There's a lot of there's a lot of powerful people in the sport of boxing that understand the vulnerability of a fighter, and they take advantage of that. Fighters are being taken advantage of a lot. I just want y'all to understand. Y'all don't gotta agree with what I'm saying. Y'all don't gotta care about Demetrius Andrade, but y'all gotta understand what I'm saying. There's gonna be a lot of channels out there, and probably most of the channels out there is going at Demetrius Andrade, pulling out another fight. I support Demetrius Andrade for pulling out from that fight because that's a slap in the face. And I know the business of boxing enough to know that was a political move, a political dirty move for him to pull out from that fight. Demetrius Andrade was backstabbed. Demetrius Andrade was blindsided because, of course, how would he know that the same people that bid the 1.2 million, the 1.8 million is going to bid 300,000? How could he knew that they was going to lowball both of the fighters? How would he know? We almost did business. We had a fight on May 21st. There was respect. You understand the value of me. You understand the value of your fight. You understand the value of a fight. But now 300,000. Y'all could believe what y'all want to believe, but I'm giving y'all what what's logical. Unbiasedly, logically, and objectively. What happens in the business of boxing. The business of boxing, sometimes it's fair. Sometimes it's very, very dirty. Very, very slimy. I also told myself, man, the more that I know about this business, the more you don't want to be in this business. The more that you know about this business and educated about this business and in this business, you understand in this business, there's a lot of crooks. These are the type of video that can have me blackballed. I've been blackballed for a couple promoters. So there's going to be another video that's going, you know, probably blackball me even more from other events. So I just want you to appreciate. You don't have to agree with me, but appreciate my genuine take on what's happening or what have happened. Hopefully Demetrius Andrade gets a fight or try to, you know, work things out maybe on the Samsung side or the PBC side to get the David Benavidez fight in 168, which both of these guys don't have an opponent. Let's see what's gonna happen, y'all. Let's see what's gonna happen. I think this is unfortunate, and I understand you fans don't give a fuck. I understand this. I understand this toxic business of boxing, and also I understand the toxic community of boxing. So it is what it is. If people wanted my take, there's my take. Subscribe to the channel, smash the like button. Love you. God bless, and on to the next.